Wang Shi. It is said that there was a commoner named Wang Shi in Gaiyuan who went to boxing to carry salt. He was caught by two men at night. He thought he was a patrolman from the local salt merchant, so he threw the salt bag and wanted to run away. But his feet couldn't run, so he was tied up. He begged to be let go. The two people said, "We are not people from the salt market, but ghosts from the underworld." Wang Shi became frightened upon hearing this and asked to go home to say goodbye to his wife. The two ghost soldiers refused and said, "You may not die immediately if you go this time, but it is just a temporary labor service." Wang Shi asked, "What happened?" The ghost soldier said, "The newly appointed king of hell in the underworld saw that the Nahi River had been silted up, and the toilets in the 18th level of hell were also filled with feces, so he wanted to arrest three kinds of people to wash the river: thieves, private coiners, and private salt dealers. There is also a class of people who are specifically asked to clean out toilets: those who work in brothels." Wang Shi followed them forward, entered a city, and came to the official office. He saw the king of hell sitting in the palace, reviewing the book of life and death. The ghost soldier came forward and reported, "We caught Wang Shi, a smuggler of salt, and he is now in custody." The king of hell glanced at Wang Shi and said angrily, "Private salt dealers are those who evade national taxes and harm people's livelihood. The private salt dealers designated by corrupt officials and profiteers in the world are all good people in the world. How can a poor man, with very little capital, seek the interest of a liter of salt, become a smuggler?" So he punished the two ghost soldiers and bought 4 liters of salt, together with what Wang Shi carried, and transported it to Wang Shi for him. Home, Wang Shi was left behind, given a mace, and asked to follow the ghost soldiers to supervise the migrant workers in Tao. The ghost soldiers led him out of the palace of the king of hell, and came to the bank of the Nai River. He saw the men in the river, tied one by one with ropes, like a group of ants. "Look at the river water again. It is turbid, red in color, and smells bad." The people who were swimming in the river were all naked, carrying earthen baskets and shovels, and wandered into the smelly river. The baskets were full of rotting bones and rotting corpses, and they were carried out on backs. From the deepest places, one could only dig in and retrieve them. For those who are lazy, use a mace to hit their backs and buttocks. The ghost soldier, who also oversaw the work, gave him a fragrant cotton pill that was larger than a pea and told him to hold it in his mouth before he could get closer to the river. He saw a businessman from Gaiyuan salt shop also swimming in the water. Wang Shi was only very harsh on him. When he entered the river, he would hit his back, and when he came ashore, he would knock his butt. The salt merchant was frightened to death. Wang Shi only stopped after often soaking in smelly water. After 3 days and 3 nights, half of the river workers were dead, and the river washing project was completed. It was still the 2 ghost soldiers who sent him home a few days ago, and he suddenly came back to life. 3 days ago, he went out to carry salt, and did not come back. After dawn, his wife opened the door and saw 2 bags of salt in the yard, but Wang Shi did not come back for a long time. They sent people out to look for him and found him dead on the road. When he was carried home, he was dying, and his family didn't know why. After he regained consciousness, he told his wife the reason. The merchant in the salt shop also died the day before yesterday, and he only woke up now. The places hit by the mace turned into huge malignant sores, and the whole body was rotten and so smelly that it was impossible to get close. The king wanted to see him. When the salt merchant saw Wang Shi, he shrank his head under the quilt in fear, just like he did in Nahi. It took him a year to recover, and he no longer worked as a salt merchant. Yi Shi said, in the laws governing salt, the so-called private traders in the court refer to those who do not participate in the public business. The private traders mentioned by the government and salt merchants refer to those who do not participate in their private business. Recently, Shandong's new regulations mean that local merchants' salt shops are set up everywhere. and each shop is limited to a certain territory. Not only the people of this county are not allowed to go to that county to buy salt. The people who belong to this salt shop are not allowed to go to other salt shops to buy salt. But the salt shop secretly set up bait to lure people in other counties. They sold to other counties at a very cheap price. But to locals, the price was several times higher. They also sent people to patrol the roads to make them no one within his jurisdiction can escape from his trap. Within his jurisdiction, some people pretend to be from other counties and come to buy his salt. They will be punished according to the law and will never be forgiven. Because they all seduce each other, therefore, more and more people in this county come to the county to buy salt by pretending to be people from other counties. Once caught by patrolmen, they will first hurt his legs with knives and sticks, and then send them to the government. The government, he was put in handcuffs and shackles, and called a smuggler. Oh, what an injustice! Those who miss tens of thousands of taxes are not called smugglers, but those who carry 8 liters of salt on their backs are called smugglers. Those who sell it to foreigners they are not smugglers, but people in this territory buying salt are smugglers. What an injustice! Among the laws, the salt law is the most stringent. But it is not prohibited only for poor soldiers and civilians who sell salt in exchange for food. Now, it prohibits nothing else, but only kills these poor soldiers and civilians. These poor soldiers and civilians, whose wives and children are hungry and crying for food. Obey the law and do not become thieves, and know the shame and do not engage in prostitution. They have no choice but to do so. Use 10 ounces of capital to get 1 ounce of interest. If a county is full of such common people, it is okay to stay open at night. Aren't these good people in the world? For those salt merchants, they should not only be called taonehi. They should simply be asked to clean the toilets of the 18th level of hell. Moreover, during the holidays throughout the year, the officials accept some benefits from the salt merchants and use the law to help them kill our good people. Therefore, for the sake of the good people's life plan, it is better to be a robber and mint copper coins privately. A robber robs people during the day, and an official is like a deaf person. The furnace for making money is like a blind man. Even if he goes to wash the river in the future, he will not be like carrying salt on his back. The small traders did not make much money, but the official punishment was immediately added to them. Alas, now, the officials do not have a kind legal system. They only listen to the salt laws of the salt merchants. They change every day and use tricks every day. Those who break the law, how can we not show up every day? And how can good people not die every day? Salt merchants in each county followed the old rule, and gave money worth several rock salt to the county magistrate every year, which was called salt supply. During the holidays, a generous gift is also given. Therefore, when salt merchants came to see the magistrate would receive them politely, talk to them on an equal footing, and sometimes offer them tea. The salt dealer sent a salt dealer, and the county magistrate severely punished him before he could interrogate him. When Zhang Xian was a county magistrate in Ziquan, a salt merchant came to see him. Following the old rules, he only bowed and did not kneel down and kowtow. Zhang Xian said angrily, "The former county magistrate accepted your bribe, so he had to receive you with grand etiquette. I spent my own money to buy salt to eat. Who is a businessman? I dare to challenge him in court." He asked people to slap him down. Pants to be spanked. The merchant kowtowed and apologized before letting him go. Later, the salt shop caught 2 hawkers carrying salt. One ran away, and the other was turned to the county government. Zhang Xian interrogated and asked, "2 hawkers, where did the other one go?" The hawker said, "He ran away." Zhang Xian asked, "Is there something wrong with your legs that prevents you from running?" The vendor said, "You can run." Zhang Xian said, "Since you have been caught, you must not run. If you can really run, you can stand up and try running to see if you can run." The hawker stood up and ran a few steps before stopping. Zhang Xinian said, "Run forward, don't stand down." The hawker ran as fast as he could, and actually ran out of the yamen and escaped. Everyone who saw it laughed. This is not the only story of Zhang Xinian's love for the people. This is his leisurely style, Dequan County. The people still talk about it to this day.
Alright, this story has come to an end. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you.